I'll never forget the sound of the deadbolt sliding into place, that final metallic click that told me I was locked out of the only home I'd ever known. I was standing on the front porch with 2 garbage bags full of clothes, a backpack with my school supplies, and nowhere to go. My mother's face appeared in the window for just a moment, cold, unmoved, satisfied, before she pulled the curtain closed. She'd said it clearly before shutting the door. "You think you know everything? You think you can disrespect me under my roof? Fine, go see how the real world treats you. You'll be begging to come back within a week, and when you do, I'll make sure you remember this moment." That was 11 years ago. I never went back. Not once. Not to apologize, not to beg, not even to prove I'd made it. And last Tuesday at 7 in the morning, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find my mother standing there, older and broken, with 2 suitcases and tears streaming down her face. This is the story of what happened between that locked door and this moment, and what I said to the woman who threw me away when she showed up asking if she could stay. My name is Alexis Reed, and I'm 27 years old now, but this story starts when I was 16, living in a cramped 2-bedroom apartment in Detroit with my mother, Carol, and my younger brother, Danny, who was 12 at the time. My parents had divorced when I was 8. My dad had moved to Phoenix, started a new family, and basically forgot we existed except for the occasional birthday card with $20 inside. So it was just us 3, and my mother ruled that apartment like a tyrant. Everything had to be her way. Every decision had to go through her. Every opinion that wasn't hers was wrong and disrespectful. I learned early to keep my head down and my mouth shut. But when you're 16, sometimes you can't. The fight that got me kicked out started over something stupid, like most fights do. I'd gotten a job at a coffee shop, not because we desperately needed the money. My mom worked full-time at a call center, and we were getting by, but because I wanted my own money, money I didn't have to ask permission to spend, money that was mine. I'd been working there for 3 months, saving every dollar I could. I'd saved almost $800, which felt like a fortune. I kept it in a shoebox under my bed because I didn't have a bank account yet. One day, I came home from school to find my mother in my room, holding my shoebox. She'd counted the money. "Where did this come from?" she demanded. I explained about the job, how I'd been working after school and weekends. Her face went dark. "You got a job without asking me? I didn't think I needed permission. I'm 16. You're 16 and you live in my house. Everything you do, you ask me first. Do you understand?" I should have just agreed, should have apologized, taken my lecture, and moved on. But I was tired of asking permission for everything, tired of being treated like I had no autonomy, no rights, no voice. So I said something stupid. I said, "It's my life." She slapped me. Not the first time, but it would be the last. Then she took my shoebox, walked to the bathroom, and dumped all $800 into the toilet, flushed it, stood there and flushed my 3 months of work away while I watched in horror. "That's what happens when you disrespect me," she said calmly. "Now you'll learn." I lost it, started screaming at her, told her she was controlling and cruel, told her I couldn't wait to turn 18 and leave, told her she was a terrible mother. I meant every word, and she knew it. That's when she told me to pack my things, said if I wanted to be on my own so badly I could start right now. I thought she was bluffing. She'd threatened to kick me out before when she was angry, but she'd never actually done it. This time was different. She stood in my doorway while I packed, making sure I didn't take anything she'd paid for. Clothes? Fine. School supplies? Fine. The laptop she'd bought me for school? No. The phone on the family plan? No. My winter coat that she'd purchased last year? No. Just the bare minimum, stuffed into trash bags like I was garbage she was throwing out. Danny watched from his room, crying but too scared of her to say anything. She marched me to the front door, unlocked it, pushed me outside, and said those words I'd never forget. "You'll be begging to come back within a week. You'll see how hard life really is. And when you come back, you'll apologize for every disrespectful thing you said, and you'll follow my rules without question." Then she slammed the door, locked it, and my life as I knew it was over. That first night, I slept in the coffee shop bathroom. The manager, Tom, was closing and found me hiding in there. Instead of calling the police, he asked me what was wrong. I broke down and told him everything. Tom was maybe 25, a college dropout who'd been managing this shop for 3 years. He let me sleep on his couch that night, said I could stay for a few days while I figured things out, but his girlfriend wouldn't be okay with it long term. He also said I could keep working at the coffee shop, gave me extra shifts, and helped me figure out where homeless teens could go for help. That's how I found the youth shelter. It wasn't great, shared rooms, strict rules, limited privacy, but it was safe and warm and they had resources. A social worker named Patricia helped me enroll in a program for homeless youth, helped me understand my rights, how to finish school, how to survive. I spent my junior year of high school living at that shelter, working at the coffee shop every moment I wasn't in school, and slowly building a plan. I applied for every scholarship I could find, talked to my guidance counselor about colleges with good financial aid, studied my ass off to keep my grades up because I knew education was my only way out, and I never, not once, called my mother. Not to beg, not to apologize, not to ask if I could come home. People at the shelter told me I should try to reconcile, said family was family, that my mom probably missed me and was just too proud to reach out. But I knew better. She'd thrown me away because I dared to want independence, because I'd challenged her control, and if I went back, I'd be admitting she was right, that I couldn't survive without her, that I needed her permission to exist. Senior year, I moved into a group home for aged-out foster youth. It was better than the shelter, more privacy, more freedom. I graduated high school with a 3.8 GPA and a full scholarship to Michigan State University. Not a fancy school, but it was free and it was mine. I majored in business management because I wanted to understand how the world worked, how money worked, how to build something sustainable. I worked part-time all through college, lived in the cheapest dorms, ate ramen and discount groceries, and graduated with honors and no debt. At 22, I got a job as an assistant manager at a retail company. At 24, I was promoted to regional manager. At 25, I was recruited by a corporate consulting firm. And last year, at 26, I started my own business, a consulting company helping small businesses optimize their operations. It's been successful beyond anything I imagined. I have 15 employees, contracts with over 50 clients, and last year I cleared $400,000 in profit. I bought a house 6 months ago. Nothing crazy expensive, but it's mine. 3 bedrooms, a small yard, a neighborhood with good schools, even though I don't have kids. It's the kind of house I dreamed about when I was sleeping on Tom's couch, wondering if I'd ever feel secure again. I never posted about my success on social media, never sent updates to old friends or family members who might pass information along to my mother. I didn't do it out of spite. I did it because I'd built this life without her, and I didn't want her taking any credit for it or inserting herself back into my story. For 11 years, I was completely no contact. I didn't know if she thought about me, didn't know if she regretted what she'd done, didn't care. I'd processed my anger in therapy, learned to separate my worth from her rejection, and moved forward with my life. Then last Tuesday happened. I was getting ready for work, drinking coffee in my kitchen, checking emails on my phone. The doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone, but sometimes delivery drivers come early. I opened the door in my pajamas and coffee in hand. My mother was standing on my porch. I didn't recognize her at first. She'd aged dramatically, hair completely gray, deep lines around her eyes and mouth, hunched shoulders like she was carrying the weight of the world. She was wearing worn-out clothes and standing next to 2 battered suitcases. When our eyes met, she started crying immediately. "Alexis," she said, her voice breaking, I didn't know where else to go." I stood there, frozen, unable to process what I was seeing. This was the woman who'd thrown me out 11 years ago, the woman who'd told me I'd be begging to come back, the woman who'd flushed my hard-earned money down the toilet to teach me a lesson about respect. And now she was on my doorstep, clearly in trouble, clearly desperate. "How did you find me?" My voice came out flat, emotionless. "I hired someone, a private investigator. It took them 3 weeks. I needed to find you. Alexis, I need help." "What kind of help?" She glanced around nervously, like she was afraid the neighbors were watching. "Can I come in? Please? I'll explain everything." Every instinct told me to say no, to close the door the way she'd closed it on me, to tell her to leave and never come back. But I'm not her. I don't lock people out when they're desperate, so I stepped aside and let her in. She walked into my house slowly, taking everything in, the furniture I'd bought, the artwork on the walls, the clear evidence that I'd built a good life. She sat on my couch without being invited, and I remained standing, arms crossed, waiting. "Your house is beautiful," she said quietly. "What do you want, Mom?" "I lost my job 8 months ago. The call center closed, moved operations overseas. I've been living off unemployment, but it ran out. I couldn't pay rent. I got evicted 3 weeks ago." I processed this information without emotion. "What about Danny?" "My brother. I'd thought about him over the years, wondered how he was doing, if she was treating him the way she'd treated me. Danny's in Colorado. He left for college 5 years ago, got a job out there, got married. He doesn't talk to me much." "Why not?" She looked away. "We had a falling out. He wanted to invite you to his wedding. I told him if he did, I wouldn't come. He chose you, invited you anyway. You didn't respond, and I made his life hell about it. He hasn't spoken to me since." I'd never gotten a wedding invitation from Danny. He must have sent it to an old address before I moved. I felt a pang of sadness about that. I'd missed my brother's wedding because our mother had poisoned our relationship. "So Danny won't help you, and you came to me?" "You're all I have left, Alexis. I know I made mistakes." "Mistakes?" I laughed bitterly. "You threw me out when I was 16. You took my money and flushed it down the toilet. You told me I'd come begging back, and when I didn't, you never once tried to find me, to apologize, to see if I was even alive. I thought you'd come back on your own. I thought you'd realize that you were right, that I couldn't survive without you, that I needed your control and your abuse to function. It wasn't abuse. I was trying to teach you." "Stop. Don't try to rewrite history. You were cruel, you were controlling, you hit me, you threw me out with nothing because I dared to get a job without your permission. That's not parenting. That's abuse." She was crying harder now. I know I was terrible, but I'm your mother. I raised you. Doesn't that count for something? You raised me for 16 years. I've spent 11 years raising myself. I think we're even." "Alexis, please. I have nowhere to go. I'm about to be homeless. I need help." There it was, the ask, the reason she'd hired a private investigator to track me down after 11 years of silence. She needed something from me. "What specifically do you want?" I asked coldly. "I need a place to stay, just temporarily, just until I can find a job, save up some money, get back on my feet. Please, you have this big house, you have the room. I'm begging you." And there was the word, begging, the exact word she'd used 11 years ago, the word she'd been so certain I'd be saying to her, except she was the one saying it now. "You told me I'd be begging to come back," I said quietly. You told me I couldn't survive without you. You told me the world would chew me up and spit me out. And when it didn't, when I survived and thrived and built this life, you didn't care. You didn't reach out to congratulate me or apologize or even check if I was alive. The only reason you're here now is because you need something. That's not fair. Life isn't fair. You taught me that when you flushed $800 down the toilet. She had no response to that. We sat in silence for a long moment, and I could see her cycling through emotions: desperation, anger, shame, fear. Finally, she spoke again. What do you want me to say? That I was wrong? Fine, I was wrong. I was a terrible mother. I was controlling and mean, and I should never have kicked you out. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Is that what you need to hear? What I need, I said slowly, is to understand why you think I owe you anything. You gave birth to me, yes. You kept a roof over my head for 16 years, but you also made my childhood miserable. You controlled every aspect of my life. You hit me when I disagreed with you, and when I dared to show a shred of independence, you threw me away like garbage. That's not parenting, that's abuse. She was sobbing harder now. I know I was terrible, but I'm your mother. I raised you. Doesn't that count for something? You raised me for 16 years. I've spent 11 years raising myself. I think we're even. Alexis, please, I have nowhere to go. I'm about to be homeless. I need help. There it was, the ask. The reason she'd hired a private investigator to track me down after 11 years of silence. She needed something from me. What specifically do you want? I asked coldly. I need a place to stay, just temporarily, just until I can find a job, save up some money, get back on my feet. Please, you have this big house, you have the room. I'm begging you. And there was the word, begging. The exact word she'd used 11 years ago, the word she'd been so certain I'd be saying to her, except she was the one saying it now. You told me I'd be begging to come back, I said quietly. You told me I couldn't survive without you. You told me the world would chew me up and spit me out. And when it didn't, when I survived and thrived and built this life, you didn't care. You didn't reach out to congratulate me or apologize or even check if I was alive. The only reason you're here now is because you need something. That's not fair. Life isn't fair. You taught me that when you flushed $800 down the toilet. She had no response to that. We sat in silence for a long moment, and I could see her cycling through emotions: desperation, anger, shame, fear. Finally, she spoke again. What do you want me to say? That I was wrong? Fine, I was wrong. I was a terrible mother. I was controlling and mean, and I should never have kicked you out. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Is that what you need to hear? What I need, I said slowly, is to understand why you think I owe you anything. You gave birth to me, yes. You kept a roof over my head for 16 years. But you also made my childhood miserable. You controlled every aspect of my life. You hit me when I disagreed with you. And when I dared to show a shred of independence, you threw me away like garbage. So explain to me why I should help you now. Because I'm your mother. That's not a reason. That's a biological fact. Motherhood is earned through love and support and sacrifice. You didn't earn it. You forfeited it when you locked that door 11 years ago. She was sobbing openly now, and part of me felt guilty, but the larger part of me remembered that 16-year-old girl sleeping in a bathroom, terrified and alone, wondering how she'd survive. Remembered the years of struggle and uncertainty and fear. Remembered building this entire life with zero help from the woman now asking for a place to stay. I can't do this, my mother said finally. I can't beg. I won't. Then don't. You can leave right now. The door's not locked. She looked at me with something between disbelief and anger. You're really going to throw me out? Your own mother? You're really going to lecture me about throwing family members out? Did you miss the irony? I was teaching you a lesson. And I learned it. I learned that when you're down, you can't count on family. You have to build your own support system. You have to survive on your own. I learned that lesson very well. Thank you for that. She stood up, grabbed her purse, and headed for the door, then stopped, turned around. When she spoke again, her voice was different, smaller, honest. I was jealous of you, she said quietly. What? When you were a teenager, so confident, so sure of yourself, you knew what you wanted. You weren't afraid to stand up to me. I was 20 when I had you. I'd never done anything with my life. Never went to college, never had a career, never accomplished anything. And watching you prepare to leave, watching you plan this whole future that didn't need me, it terrified me, made me feel worthless. So you threw me out to prove you were right? To prove I needed you. I threw you out because I couldn't stand watching you succeed where I'd failed. And then when you didn't come back, when you actually made it without me, it made it so much worse. Because it proved that you were always going to be fine, that I was the failure, not you. It was probably the most honest thing she'd ever said to me, and it didn't change anything. I'm sorry you felt that way, I said, but your jealousy and insecurity aren't my responsibility to manage. You were the adult. You were the parent. You should have gotten therapy or worked on yourself instead of taking it out on your child. I know, she whispered. I know that now. We stood there in my entryway, 11 years of pain and anger and abandonment hanging between us. I thought about what my therapist had told me years ago, that forgiveness was for me, not for the person who hurt me, that I could forgive my mother and still choose not to have her in my life, that healing didn't require reconciliation. I'm not going to let you stay here, I said finally. I can't have you in my space, in my home that I built without you, but I'm not going to let you be homeless either. I went to my bedroom, grabbed my checkbook, came back and wrote a check for $5,000, handed it to her. This is enough for a deposit and first month's rent on an apartment, enough to buy groceries while you look for a job. Use it wisely because you won't get another one. She stared at the check like it was a foreign object. Alexis, I don't know what to say. Say thank you and leave. That's what I want. Can we try to rebuild? Can I see you again? I don't know. Maybe, but not now. Not anytime soon. You need to get your life together, and I need to protect my peace, the peace it took me 11 years to build. She nodded, tears still flowing. Thank you. I don't deserve this. No, you don't. But I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it because I'm a better person than you were to me, and because somewhere under all the anger, there's a 16-year-old girl who still wishes her mother had loved her enough to not throw her away. This is for her. My mother left with her suitcases and the check. I closed the door behind her, locked it, and sat on my couch feeling a complicated mix of emotions: relief, sadness, anger, pride. I'd done something my mother couldn't. I'd shown compassion to someone who'd hurt me, but I'd also protected myself, set boundaries, made it clear that she didn't get to waltz back into my life just because she needed something. 2 weeks later, she texted me, a short message. I found an apartment, started applying for jobs. Thank you. I'm sorry for everything. I didn't respond immediately. Sat with it for a few days, finally replied, I'm glad you're okay. I need more time. She respected that. Didn't push, didn't call, didn't show up at my house, just sent occasional updates, got a job at a grocery store, moved into her apartment, was seeing a therapist. I don't know if we'll ever have a real relationship. I don't know if I want one. The mother I have now is not the mother I needed at 16, and the daughter she has now is someone who survived without her, who doesn't need her approval or her presence to feel whole. But I do know this: I broke the cycle. I didn't become her. I didn't throw her out the way she threw me out. I didn't let her homelessness be my revenge, even though part of me wanted to, because that's not who I am. Here's what I've learned from all of this. You don't owe your parents a relationship just because they gave birth to you. You don't owe them forgiveness just because they say sorry when they need something. You don't owe them access to your life just because they're family. But you also don't have to become them. You don't have to be cruel just because they were cruel. You don't have to abandon them just because they abandoned you. You can set boundaries while still being kind. You can say no while still offering help. You can protect yourself while still showing compassion. That's the difference between being a victim and being a survivor. Victims stay stuck in anger, repeating cycles of hurt. Survivors break free, become better, build something new. My mother threw me out expecting me to fail, to come crawling back, to prove she was right and I was wrong. Instead, I built a life so successful that she came crawling to me. To anyone out there who's been kicked out, abandoned, told they wouldn't make it by the people who should have supported them, you can do it. It won't be easy, it will be lonely and scary and hard, but you can survive. You can thrive. You can build a life so good that the people who doubted you will wonder how they lost you. And when they come back, because they often do, you get to decide. You get to choose whether to let them in or keep them out. You get to choose whether to offer help or walk away. You get to choose whether to break the cycle or repeat it. Choose wisely. Choose yourself. Choose the life you deserve, not the one they told you was impossible. My name is Alexis Reed. My mother threw me out at 16 and told me I'd be begging to come back. 11 years later, she was the one at my door, begging for help. I gave her money, but not access. Compassion, but not forgiveness. Help, but not reconciliation. Because I learned something she never understood. Being strong doesn't mean being cruel. It means having the power to hurt someone who hurt you and choosing not to. It means breaking cycles instead of continuing them. It means being better than the people who failed you. My mother may never fully understand the woman I became, but I do, and that's what matters. Not her approval, not her pride, not her validation, just mine. And I'm finally, after 11 years, proud of who I am.